Welcome to OpenFrame, a podcast by Pixieset, the place for photographers and other creatives to have inspiring, honest, and uplifting conversations.
Hello. My name is Ellie McKinney, and I am going to be hosting this episode of the OpenFrame Podcast by Pixieset. I am a North Carolina-based wedding and elopement photographer, and I also help photographers strategize their growth plans while providing tools and resources, mentoring sessions to community. I love it all. Needless to say, I love seeing other photographers grow, which is why I cannot wait to dig into today's conversation. Let's get it. Stacey, oh my goodness, so excited to have you here. How are you today?
I'm so good. How are you?
Good. Today, we're going to be digging into such a hot topic. But first, I wanted to just let everybody hear from you and meet Pepper, what it's all about. So fill us in on all the goodness that you guys are out there working on.
Oh, thank you for the lovely introduction. So Pepper is a team of a bunch of badass ladies who are part of this creative marketing agency, and we help photographers and creative entrepreneurs market their business through strategy and content creation.
Amazing. And this is not your average agency, right? You all focus on photographers and creatives.
Exactly.
Yes, that's perfect. I think there's marketing agencies, especially whenever you think of like the traditional agencies and everything that it includes, it's hard for us as creatives to think that someone can help us market. But whenever you are focused on all the needs that we have, I think it's just absolutely brilliant. And I was scrolling through your website, checking out all of the badasses that work with you and for you. And I want to hear more about what made you start creating this.
You've already said it. I'm actually so impressed, and I feel really moved that you just said something that really connected with the reason why we started Pepper in the first place. And I always say we, because it really has been a team effort. I mean, if it was just up to me, if it was me alone, I would be sitting on a bar stool somewhere telling other photographers like how cool this thing would be if it existed. Yes. But I was a photographer. I still am a photographer, but I was full-time photography. I was really busy. My friends had no idea what I looked like in person any longer. They only knew based on social media. And so I went looking to outsource a lot of my marketing, and I found someone that would do social, someone that would help me with SEO, but nothing really comprehensive and nothing felt connected. It was just these little piecemeal things. And so I started looking at agencies, and like you just said, everything was like really corporate. And I was like, I don't think they're going to get what it is that I do. And I don't think they're going to connect with the work that I'm doing. Like, I feel intimidated to even approach them because I'm not a corporate business, and I'm a photographer, I'm a creative. The connection wasn't there. So started Meet Pepper.
Oh, that's amazing. As creatives, we're supposed to put like so much of ourselves into the brand, right? And so for these traditional agencies, you're like, well, this is not black and white. I really want to introduce my core values or talk about things that I enjoy to find like people, because you're going to make those stronger connections if you're showing more of your personality, which is just brilliant for you all to focus on. And it makes so much sense that you were a full-time photographer, because I'm like, no wonder this connects so beautifully, because you created something that you saw there was a big need for.
Exactly. We're a special breed, where we have different requirements than the regular entrepreneur.
Oh my gosh, that's so true. And I think of, we've just gone through COVID, and, getting through that was its own hump. And so getting into the topic that we're talking today, I feel like has been the second hump to get through, which is social media trends and where we're seeing everything headed. No joke. I'm overwhelmed just like thinking about this topic. So I'm so glad we have you to talk to just start digging into it, because before COVID, I think about it, Instagram was just a very different app in general. And now we're seeing things like TikTok and Reels and video come about. And so I wanted you to touch on social media trends and what that means to you.
I'm going to touch on a little bit as kind of like a little introduction and kind of what I'm seeing right now and the team, what we're seeing. And then I really would love to focus on what you can do because of the things that we're experiencing. So I can tell you, I'll start at the beginning here. This is how I like to ramble. Welcome to the Stacey Rambling Show.
Let's go.
Here we go. So when I'm talking to photographers lately, the biggest thing they're saying to me is that they're exhausted. They just got through the pandemic. They lost momentum on their social, or their social isn't working for them any longer. It's hard as a creative entrepreneur to put yourself out there for your marketing when you're already doing it for your work and for your clients. So you're really having to double down on that energy, and it can be a lot. And if you're not a natural entertainer or performer or a jokester, or dancing, like it's really hard to put your face forward for reels or even your stories and TikTok. Some people, they don't feel authentic to them to point at things.
Right.
And, it's just not something they want to do, but they feel like they need to do it. And honestly, Instagram is really rewarding creators that are doing those things. So you can still be really successful in social, but yes, you do need to put your face forward. You do need to do those video content of reels and your stories and engage. That having said that, there are other ways that you can market your business. You don't have to do those things.
Good.
And I really want to encourage people that to still be active on social, but it doesn't have to be, all or nothing. It doesn't have to be black and white. You're like, if I can't do it 100% this, then I'm not going to do it at all. I want you to make a plan for yourself that's sustainable, whether it's, posting twice a week or 3 times a week, or, putting a reel out there and going on stories, but in a way that's authentic to you and true to you, that you're actually engaging with your audience. And I want you to realize you don't have to have 10K plus followers anymore to have a successful social media. You can have, look at Pepper, like, we have only 3,000 people that follow us, but we're completely have a wait list of photographers.
That's amazing.
People tell us they see us absolutely everywhere. We have really good brand recognition, but we're only 3,000 people on Instagram because we market ourselves in multiple different places, and we have excellent engagement versus really high following. So go ahead. Yes.
No, I was just going to say, anyone who's listening at this point is probably breathing lighter, because I feel it within my whole, like my posture changed. And I was like, okay, we can do this, you all. with social media, it's so hard to think that you have to be posting every day. You have to be showing up and pointing to these things. I feel like it was so common for some of us to try it and then immediately delete it, because we were like, oh, this is cringy. Like, I'm not sure I'm still being me in the right ways. And so for you to say, authentically showing up as yourself in the ways that feel right, can you give some examples of what you've seen that people have done that is a little bit different from just like the pointing reels?
Yeah. I mean, some really common ones for photographers, some easy ones to start could be just behind the scenes, sharing your images, sharing something that you love, even in your personal life, or like a bit of your routine or morning routine, or like you have a cute little dog, maybe doing a few little video clips with your dog to music so people can see your face and your smile and your energy. If you're more of an introvert, it could even just be sharing you're like cuddling up with your book. You're like post-wedding relaxation. Like, here I am cuddling on the couch and watching a movie, eating popcorn. And so many people are going to be like, yeah, I'm with you. Like, I'm the same. Like, I love this person already, because they want to get to know you. And I think don't worry about being perfect. It's not about that anymore. Use social media as a way to have fun, experiment, use it. It's an excellent engagement tool still. So if you have vendors you want to reach out to, or fellow photographers you want to create relationships with, or even potential clients, it's still an excellent tool for that. You could have your social media, your grid be a place for people to come and see your work as a portfolio piece. So you're not, it's not there for tons of likes and maybe even tons of comments. Someone found me on Google because my SEO is working for me. And then they check me out there, and then they go to my social just to see like an overall view of what my work looks like, maybe a little bit more about me. So treat it more of a portfolio piece. Then this is my lead generator.
Oh, so true. So true. Because I think we sometimes can feel overwhelmed that we have to put all of our energy into Instagram. And so maybe that is what is so overwhelming about these other apps coming along, because it's like, wait, we have spent so many years, if we've been in the industry for a bit, or as a new photographer, so much time and effort in making it what we thought it should be, that it can be overwhelming. And like you said, there's things like SEO that aren't on the surface of Instagram to show people how many people visit your website. Like it's not even connected. So to think that we have more than one opportunity for marketing other than just our social media account on Instagram.
Absolutely. And it's interesting because SEO is connected to everything on the internet, right?
Yes.
I think a lot of people, first of all, I have to say you're an excellent interviewer. I'm really enjoying this. And yes, I'm trying so hard to like just give information, but I actually want to ask you some questions too.
Oh my gosh. You all, I've got to tell you, before we even pressed record, first of all, I was so nervous. I was blabbing things out that I'm not even going to admit to right now. It was so fun because if you're watching this on video, then you can see your shirt, but it says "Wish You Were Beer." And honestly, before I even talked to you, my husband brews, and we're like in the beginning stages of opening a brewery and things. And I was like, we are friends. We are just like on another level. The world is not ready for this podcast.
Get out of town.
Oh, I was like, you're my people, but I got to press record to tell you first.
And my mind is blown. I'm such a beer girl. It's ridiculous.
Oh my gosh. We're going to have a second date. That's just,
I'm down. I am 100% down. So you guys are doing social media for your upcoming brewery?
Yes, we just started it. So he's been brewing for over a decade, but the social media part, I was like, wow, photographer, this is easy because not easy, but you have the content because that's what you're making consistently. The hardest part is choosing the content. And then you have something like a brewery and I'm like, okay, then we got to start from fresh. I'm talking branding, colors. And you're like, does this really matter for a brewery? Yes, it absolutely does.
It does.
So it's like, I get to be in this beginning stage again, where I thought I was feeling pretty decent about social media until I had to think about starting fresh. But yes.
So I feel like this is a great point to talk about social, and then we'll get on to the other things, because I think there's a lot of new photographers out there. I think with COVID, a lot of people realize my regular job isn't so safe anymore. And, I want to be fulfilled in the work that I'm doing. So I want to try this photography thing. And we actually did see a cycle of people that were maybe doing it a long time. And then they just, decided they didn't want to do it any longer. So they transitioned out. And then we have a lot of people transitioning in, which is very interesting. I think in this time in our industry. Yeah. So do you find then starting this new Instagram account, so let's say for new photographers, is a little bit more intimidating than maintaining the one you already have?
Oh, for sure.
And why is that?
Number one, it's like multiple Instagrams is overwhelming to even think about because you have photographers, just as an example, who only photograph within a certain niche or niche, but then you have those who love multiple things. And so their main question is, okay, do I put this all into one Instagram or do I make separate Instagrams for that main client I'm trying to attract in different ways? And so whenever it comes to running more than one account, that's first of all how I became super overwhelmed.
That's a really common thing, especially now having to put so much energy into your social media, because it does require a face to be successful. And social media can be still extremely successful. You do have to put the time and effort into it, which not everybody has, or the energy. But I always tell people some things can go together, and they're hiring you as a photographer. So you don't have to be niched or have a niche. I love that you said both.
I know. I'm
going to copy you with that
term.
Any term, any other one, you pick the one.
Yes.
But some things really do need to be separated out. Like you don't want to be shooting family sessions at the same time and showing that in your social media along with boudoir.
Exactly.
It's just like a strange, that's not the, don't mix the two.
That's how we got there, but maybe let's not open that up to the children, right?
Yeah, maybe that should be kept separate. But I think weddings and boudoir, I think commercial is another one that really should be separated out. You can mix that with portraits and family and commercial. Like you absolutely can, especially if you're in a smaller area. But if you're in a large city, you have a big market and it's something that you're wanting to do more of, I do think commercial should be separated out, because it really is more, I want to say more corporate than like weddings and love and people, kissing and
totally.
Yeah. That's my opinion.
I think so. With these different categories and trying new trends, I guess my main question is, do you see that the same social media trends work for these different categories, or are there certain things that are working really well for some and not for others?
So that's an excellent question. And I wish Paris, our lead strategist for social media, was here because she could tell you so much more. So on the team, we have multiple different people and they specialize in different areas. And Paris really is the one for social, but I can tell you a lot of the same tactics work for different industries, different types of creative entrepreneurs, different photographers. And it's really showing up in a way, I know we're all maybe sick of hearing this, but it's like authentic to you.
Totally.
And people can tell. And if you're consistent, it means you're doing something that's sustainable and something that feels good and feels right. And really that's what's successful. It's something that's consistent.
Authentic also overwhelms me. And I feel like a lot of people might fall into the same category. So I'm going to ask a question about it.
Yeah.
I think for people who are maybe lost in wondering, okay, but how am I being perceived? Because we can be authentic to ourselves all day, but whenever we're wondering how we're perceived and who we should show up as, what is your response to that? Is there certain steps that can help you sort of like take a step back and realize what you should be posting or what your focus should be? I was just thinking about that. It's so much to take in.
I'm going to go ADHD on everybody. There's two things here. There's just two. I think what you asked is the very real thing that people feel and they wonder, but it's like, if you focus on it, you're going to drive yourself crazy.
So true.
You know, like so when it comes to marketing, how people perceive you is the reality of you. So if they perceive you as a very like kind, you're a very warm person, articulate, obviously intelligent, that's what I'm perceiving you as. So in my mind, the reality is you are those things. Right?
Yeah. Right.
So that's just like marketing, how you want to show up and how you want to show people who you are. So that doesn't mean that you want to psychoanalyze yourself so much that you second guess the way that you smile. If you're
for sure,
like you're watching yourself in a story, you're like, my mouth is doing that weird twitchy thing again. And, it's just don't go down that road. So what I would really recommend doing, so it feels manageable, especially for us A types, is make a list of things that you love, some personal things like you love, maybe interior design, because we both have this excellent lamp behind us.
Shout out to our funky modern lamps.
Yes, they are fabulous. And if you can't see this, I'm very sad for you because they're very cool. But maybe you love books or art, and I see you're also a videographer. Like maybe you have a work list of like, okay, I want my clients, or my couples, or whatever genre you're shooting, I want them to see these things that I like or that I value, or what's my purpose in my business, the types of people I want to attract. A lot of times your ideal client is very much like you.
Yes.
So those are the things that you want to show, but then also have this personal list. So you can pull from your personal list into your professional list. And then some things like maybe, let's say like maybe you are a home cook and you love like making recipes from scratch, and you have these clients that are super high luxury, don't have time. This is totally made up, by the way. So
no,
might not be accurate.
I can't cook, but my husband can. So I'm just going to pretend this is.
let's just say, right. And then, but your clients, like, they don't cook because they value spending their time in other ways. So maybe you wouldn't show that side, your personal life, or that part of you. You're like, maybe I'll just keep that for my friends, or just private, or just my family. Like everything that's in your personal life doesn't have to be used for work, nor should it. You should be keeping some things just for you.
Yes. I love how you related it to, okay, is that what my clients are doing? Is that what they are prioritizing? Because it helps you divide all of the blurry lines and sort of categorize things. And like you said, you can make these lists to where it's on paper. So whenever you get foggy brain again, you just go back to your list and get back on track of what you should be sharing.
Right. And you're not trying to think off the top of your head, like, what should I share today? For example, this morning, my partner and I took my baby to swim lessons. And then on my way to work, she peed on my jeans. I am literally sitting here right now in a pair of jeans with baby pee on them.
Oh my gosh.
Do I share that with my clients? Like, or do I just tell my friends? And like,
oh my gosh, that's so great. I don't know. As a client, I'd be like, that is hilarious.
And then maybe like that's a part of my work brand personality. Like maybe I make jokes, or maybe I share those
the funny life happenings.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is my life now.
Yeah, for sure. And that makes so much sense, especially as photographers and creatives. Like, we are looking for people who honestly want to hang out with us, right? Like, even if it's just a session, the more that personalities mesh, the better the results are going to be. So just being able to share like the things that you want to find in your clients in your daily life are going to show up in bigger ways, especially whenever it comes to connection.
Exactly. Yeah. You can call them your content pillars. Maybe you have 3 content pillars.
Yes.
Yes. And one's like professional, personal life, maybe educational or entertaining.
Yes. Oh, the pillar. Yes. We all need to get a piece of paper, because as soon as I'm getting off this call, I am doing this.
Yes.
And write down our pillars and then examples under each one, right? Like getting our list started.
Yes.
I feel as though whenever it comes to having this baseline, so we have all of the things lined up, we've got our list, we're feeling good. Okay. We're like, yes, get me on social media. You can't tell me nothing. I've got my vision. And then we get to the point of actually creating the content and we get a little stuck. So how do we know like when to try new things or to not try those new things? Do you have any advice on that end?
Yeah. Do it when it feels fun. Just do it. Just don't wait. I think you should put it in a plan. Oh, so the biggest thing when it comes to marketing your business is have a plan, have a strategy, know when you're posting, know how much time you want to put aside to do it. If you're going to try some stories or some reels, when are you going to do that? What are they going to be about? Maybe tomorrow or today after the call, Ellie, you're going to sit down and be like, okay, I'm going to write my plan for this month. On these days of the week, I'm going to do stories. And then on these days, I'll do maybe 2 reels, and then I'll do some posts. And I know based on my content pillars and my ideal client and who I want to be reaching, it's going to be kind of about these topics. So then when you go to do it, you're like, okay, like I know for today, I'm creating a reel and doing a story because it's on my day. Like it's part of my schedule. I don't have to feel like I should be doing it and I'm not doing it. So I'm going to do a bunch right now. And then I'm going to be stressed because I need to do more, but I don't know when I'm going to do it. That's the worst. That's the worst.
So true.
And if you have intention behind your posts and you know why you're doing it in the first place, not just to get in front of people, not to gain more followers, but like, what is my brand? How do I want people to perceive me? What types of things am I going to be sharing about? If you know that ahead of time and it's in your plan, you're going to feel so much better and actually have fun with it. Yeah. Have fun. Who cares if you have, 2,000 followers or 50,000 followers? I mean, we all would love more because it feels great, right?
we all want more all of the time.
We all want more, but maybe you saw that story that's been going around through a lot of photographers in the last couple of days where has social media gone wrong for us, where 50 likes feels right. Like nothing. If 50 people approached you on the street today and said, hey, like Ellie, your lipstick is so gorgeous. Just so you know, you look beautiful today. You're like, holy shit, like 50 people.
Yes.
Right? Yes.
Absolutely. And I think you made the point earlier that I just wanted to mention all over again. It's the plan in place also takes away all of the anxiety of the unknown, because if your plan is solid, then you're doing it with such intention, just like you mentioned, that there's not so much room to get lost along the way, because everything has a purpose and a reason, which can make you feel really good about going forward and just doing it. Like we were talking about, just doing it.
Do it.
Yeah.
But, and like, yeah. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be at it 100%. It doesn't have to be your full-time job. Choose at a capacity that's sustainable for you. And you really should be doing your analytics. So what I mean by analytics, not just social media analytics, but make sure you go onto your website. If you haven't already, make sure you install Google Analytics and learn how to check that. Know what they mean, because let me tell you, we worked with a creative, and this happens all the time. This one story in particular was a goldsmith, another creative entrepreneur. She was out of LA and she had 18,000 followers on Instagram. She was putting a ton of effort into there and only minimal effort into Pinterest. But when we did her analytics, she was getting 3 times more traffic to her website off of Pinterest than Instagram. Goodness. And her Pinterest analytics were minor. They were there. They were fine, but they weren't spectacular. Nothing to write home about.
Wow. And it's like investing your time in the places that are going to make the biggest impact. And without the numbers, you're again, you're lost. So with the plan of digging into where these people even coming from can make the biggest difference in your business at the end of the day.
Yes, the biggest difference. So number one, statistically, your biggest lead gen is word of mouth.
Yes,
So,
I love some word of mouth.
Yeah, right? Yes,
I'm
yes.
like, that's
Listen
where
to
it's
Ellie.
at, people. Yes, that is where it's at.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Number one, across the board. That's the most important thing. And if you want to speak to that, because I feel like you got some wisdom and some knowledge
Oh my
to share on
goodness.
this.
I could just go off on this. I think I'm going to speak to wedding photography specifically, but this could really go into every category. It's like, we have the opportunity every day to touch on people who are outside of our clients, whether it's the place that you're taking their photos or where you help them pick out their outfits or wedding vendors, and just being able to make connections with these people. Or let's say you're photographing somebody and their immediate family is there to help. You know, little kids might have the grandma come, or on wedding days, you have whole families, bridal parties. And the more that you can connect with these other people, this client fell in love with you for a reason, and they probably surround themselves with the same exact people. So opening ourselves up, making those genuine connections in person, and then serving others when we can. For example, almost all of my weddings are from word of mouth right now, because I'm not doing any ads. I got very overwhelmed, like we were talking about. I was like, you know what? We're going to go word of mouth for a bit until I can refresh and have this plan that you were telling me that I'm going to make.
Nice.
But you know, from there, it's like, you know, the florist would be setting up a few of the last details whenever I got to the wedding, and I would take behind the scenes pictures of them getting the rest of these florals done and sending it to them. And they're like, oh my gosh, I'm referring you to everyone. And it was seriously just the littlest things, is how you can serve the people who are already in front of you. And then you don't have to necessarily worry about how you're ever going to book something again through Instagram, right?
Exactly.
And, you know, there's just so much I could go on a tangent, but that's just a little tidbit that I'll throw in there.
I'm smiling so big right now because it's so true. It's such an important lesson to learn. And even if you're introverted, it doesn't mean that you have to go out there on a wedding day or in a commercial shoot or whatever type of session you're shooting and have to have this big, loud personality, but it's just providing value and being warm and making those connections in your own natural way. And, you know, we worked with a photographer. Her number one lead gen was literally from her florist. It was from a florist.
That's so funny.
It's true. It's really, I mean, I think this is our relationship. I think the universe really is like, just sprinkle that in there.
This makes so much sense.
Yes. Yes. But that is truly was her biggest lead generation, was this florist, and it was all high-end weddings. It was high-end florist, very talented, incredible, right? Not Instagram.
No. And it's also who you're celebrating. I think on social media, we can be quick to be a little selfish with our work and to just say, oh, this is all me. Like, let me just showcase to everyone how good I am. And as a wedding photographer, like, I'm sorry, I'm talking to myself too, but we were there for that one click. You know what I mean? And we could have made a bomb shot where we were just like, this is the money shot, but without the dress designer, without the florist, without the suit designer, without the hair people. Like, there's so many different pieces that come together for sessions. And let's say you had a family session and the mom got makeup done, but you never decided to like tag that person. You're missing out on marketing. And while it's not word of mouth, it's still connection generated, right? So it
absolutely is.
Yeah,
it's
huge. People.
But I've had photographers say they didn't encourage photographers to share their images with vendors because they're professional photos and those vendors should be paying for those photos or use of those photos. Fall out
on the floor.
That's marketing right there. That's your marketing budget. And it's cost you 5 minutes to send the email of photos.
Yeah. Announcement.
Yes.
Middle of podcast announcement.
Yes.
Let's not be those people.
Don't be those people.
I think sometimes we turn ourselves off or away from opportunities that are right in front of us if we're only thinking of ourselves. And I think that's fair to say in that scenario. Like, we're only thinking of ourselves if we're not giving the opportunity to shout out someone that we were in a collaborative space with. It was about multiple people for one day coming together. And I think if if we're being honest with ourselves, that's what our posts can represent too. And oh my gosh, people love sharing. Like if they don't have to post, and now that there are collaboration posts, it is brilliant for us photographers, because I read somewhere, and tell me if I'm wrong, that one of the best ways to grow is to get in front of new audiences. And what better way to find these people who are connected to the same people you want to attract through these collaboration posts?
Yes. Okay. So yes. That's amazing. Another way, you just are opening up a whole door. I'm going to like tunnel right in here.
Yes.
Kind of on that same line, you could be creating an evergreen blog, which is also excellent for SEO.
Yes.
And you could be highlighting those vendors, which they will love you for, and it'll live on your website. It'll be backlinks for them, which is great for their SEO. And then you want to share that with them. So for those of you that don't know, an evergreen blog is a really heavily optimized blog, lots of words, like at least 1,500 words. So it's a little bit harder, a little bit, not harder, but more effort to do than just like a photography blog. We should get into this a little bit, the SEO stuff.
We should.
So this is a way that you can be putting a lot of energy into your marketing that's own content. So social media, comes and goes. You don't truly own it. Your account could get shut down. Someone could report you, especially if you're a boudoir photographer. Do not rely on social. You're going to be reported at some point if it hasn't happened already. And if you're listening and you're a boudoir photographer, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So, but all photographers, you really need to be putting some energy into your own content, which is on your website, which is your blogs, your copy, your images on your website. It could be even through your newsletters. If you're sending that out, that's your home base. So an evergreen blog is a blog that is relevant for a long time, like an evergreen tree. A photo blog on a particular wedding is relevant for a short amount of time. It's only relevant for that particular wedding, that couple. So an evergreen blog does take a little bit extra time, but you could really be highlighting, like I said, those vendors or some venues. You could say top 5 wedding vendors in this area. And for sure, brides are going to be searching that. And you send that blog that you put a lot of effort in to those vendors, let them know that, hey, I love what you do. And if you wanted to share this with your audience, like I would love you to do that. And I just wanted to highlight you and the amazing work that you do.
Oh my gosh.
So that hits 2 things, SEO and relationship building.
Yes, because we're talking about how to market outside of Instagram, and we haven't even dug into TikTok or any of the hard things. Like these are things we can totally control, which is sort of interesting, because I see social media as something that you put effort in but don't totally control, but SEO is something that you can control and you can make the right next moves. Whereas social media, it's a little trial and error in there. We have to do different things. But like you said, if you are writing blogs about what your clients are researching, then number one, you can use that as client experience to elevate. So once they book you, you just reuse that blog to share that great information.
Excellent.
And then to find new people online instead of having to worry about, putting in 20 minutes a day or whatever it is. You sit down to make this evergreen thing that can last for years and keep that momentum going with bringing people to your website and not getting lost scrolling through other people on social media.
Absolutely. Here's an amazing example. So my brother a few years ago got married in the Yukon, which is like Canada's version of Alaska.
Oh, beautiful.
Right. And so just for fun, I went and I searched wedding photographers in the Yukon. I'm like, what kind of photographers are living up in the Yukon? What their work looks like, just checking them out. And this incredible photography company comes up. I was like, what? They live in the Yukon? No, they are not from the Yukon. You may have heard of them. It's Nordica.
Oh,
and
yes.
They're like the godfathers of SEO and photography. And they had an evergreen blog. Beautiful. Came up on page 1, right at the top, talking about how much they wanted to shoot a wedding in the Yukon. And they were on the first page.
Goodness. Wow.
So anyone searching for Yukon wedding photographer, they came up.
That is incredible. And we hear photographers all the time. Oh, I really want to shoot at this venue. Oh, I really want to photograph here. And here you have it, a blog that's written about how bad they went to shoot there.
Yes. And like highlighting maybe why it would be amazing to shoot at this venue, or destination wedding photographers. You want to shoot a different part of the world. That's an excellent way. Pinterest is also very good for people that want to shoot destination or certain venues they haven't shot at before. Pinterest is just a prettier version of Google. It's excellent for your SEO as well.
That's so true. And for Pinterest, do you recommend having like those pins on your website. So then it's all connected. That's the part that I think a lot of photographers get confused on, is how to use Pinterest in other areas like their website or on social media and things like that.
We should have a part 2, and I'll bring our girl Paris in. And I could give you some information, but she'd be like, no, Stace, that's like so last week. Let me tell it to you now. So we call her Professor Paris, and we should do maybe do a live sometime. We'll talk about just Pinterest or something. Fun. Yeah. And she'll give you the whole lowdown on all the things.
Amazing. I think this whole conversation is around social media trends and what's so hot. And what is so funny to me is our conversation has gone to what doesn't fail, which can be outside of social media, which is word of mouth. You have SEO and Google. Mm-hmm. We also have Pinterest, which, like you said, is very similar to Google, where it's not changing all of the time with what you should and shouldn't do. So, from venturing to these good staple pieces, now we get introduced to TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
Can we talk about that for a second, and TikTok and the video content in general?
I mean, I feel like that would have to be Paris. So I'm your lead pepper, but she truly, when it comes to social media, I'm great with all the other things and your overall strategy. I can talk a little bit on TikTok, but I'm honestly like a grandma, and I just do what the girls tell me to do there.
Well, honestly, what you said earlier about just doing it. Like for me, I think I have 4 things on TikTok, and one is me dancing, but it has nothing to do with photography. And then one's me shooting behind the scenes. So I just think it's about being able to find your authentic self and showing up in that way, instead of we were talking about with the pointing and the dancing. If you're not a dancer, do not feel forced to have to dance on TikTok. I was joking with one of my mentees because he has this super soft voice, and he's very calming, and he's like, I just can't get on TikTok. What am I going to do? Dance around? No, that's not me. I refuse. And I was like, but wait, what if you came on TikTok and just used your voice to calm people down? Because I swear he would be so good.
I would follow him for that. I mean, every morning I'd be like, I'm having my coffee. I'm going to have this amazing calming voice. Yes. I would watch that. Yeah.
It's so funny, because I think we should maybe talk about this more out loud with people we hire or with our friends. What are some things you see in me that you really enjoy when I show up in that way?
Exactly. Amazing. Absolutely. That's one of your content pillars.
Yeah. Boom. There it is.
You could have a little group hangout and be like, okay, tell me what do you love about me, Ellie?
Actually, just tell me everything you feel.
Tell me the things. I'm ready. I'm going to make a little list. All right, let's go.
Yeah, I love it. And honestly, another thing I was thinking about is, it takes some, I don't know what word I'm trying to use, because I keep thinking of inappropriate ones. It definitely takes some courage. That sounds nice. It takes some courage to ask your clients how, what their favorite part was, what's something you could work on in the future. But if you're sending these questionnaires out after, you're going to get a lot of good advice in the ways that you best showed up to then use on social media. And even in our reviews on Google, right? People, if you're going through all your reviews, you're seeing words that show up time and time again. So being able to play off of those, if you're not sure what direction to take in the beginning, would probably be helpful too.
There's a way that you can work it into your workflow. Yes, with questionnaires at the end, but sometimes people are really busy and they just don't take the time to fill them out. And there's a way that where you can do it where you reach out to them. It can feel a little uncomfortable, maybe if you're not used to doing it, but you can reach out to someone either in an Instagram DM, in a little video, or in an email, whatever feels more comfortable to you to start. But I do recommend more of the video, and people can see your face and hear your voice saying their name. And it just deepens that connection. Just hey, I'm just collecting some testimonials for my business, or I'm just making sure that I'm showing up the best way possible for my clients. And I would love if you were to share with me the parts that you really enjoyed, so I can make sure that I'm putting my best foot forward or serving my clients the best way I possibly can.
How cute is that?
Yeah.
That is super cute. Yeah. Especially to show up on video. I think a lot of times even I forget that I could just not talk in person, but almost give the perception that, hey, I really want to chat with you. So tell me what you think. And then it's just, more of a conversation than instead of a formal questionnaire based.
Exactly.
Situation. Yeah.
Yes. And some people, they might, I feel like in my experience and the photographers we work with. And we do recommend putting those questionnaires in a part of your workflow. It's like a 50-50 if it gets filled out. And then I don't know, like, do you do anything with it? Like maybe you do, but just, it feels like you're doing something, but is it more passive? Something you check off the list?
From a personal perspective, if I did not have the help that I have with my business, there's no way I would do anything with those. Thankfully, I, have a plan in place where I reach back out and go over things or copy and paste and be like, oh my gosh, this is what I want to be known for. Can you copy and paste this into Google? Things like that. But it's hard. It's all hard to do on our own. And so, if you're in a place where you're keeping up with your workload, but if you add anything else extra, like how fun is it to just send these videos to a few people to get that advice that you need whenever you're coming up with your plan?
Mm-hmm. Or if you have second shooters, that's a really great person to ask too, because they're watching you the whole day.
They sure are, aren't they?
They sure are. Yeah, absolutely.
That's so
They'll
fun.
let you know what you do well.
Yeah. They're like looking at other people's reactions too. I mean, that is such a good person to ask. I'm going to do that. I've never done that before.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, because you have that connection and have been able to work together.
Yes.
I think that's brilliant.
Absolutely.
Speaking of testimonials from a video perspective, that was a hot topic that I wanted to pick your brain on a little bit, because maybe let's say somebody's not huge on being on video, but they have clients who seem like really excited and pumped and maybe are a little bit more extroverted. Would you recommend asking for like a video tutorial for socials or anything like that?
So ask me again, just to clarify the question. Ask me one more time.
Yes, I'll give an example. So there are some photographers who I have seen that do like a gallery reveal, and they have these clients who, there's certain people you can ask for this, and some you're like, they are going to kill me if they have to be on video, but to do a reveal and to record themselves opening their gallery, taking a look at it, things like that for social media. I think, whenever I first heard it, I was like, oh, that seems a lot to be asking people. And then I see the result and I'm like, this is a beautiful thing that they now get to share. So are there ways to involve clients on video, since video is like the direction everything's going?
I think one for me, so my initial thought at that, and now I know exactly what you're talking about. I think I would probably want to think through my approach asking couples, because it can come across in one way if you're asking them to do work for you, basically.
For sure.
And if you're asking them to do something, one has to be fun for them and it has to have a benefit, or you're offering something in return, like a free print or additional pages to their album, like an extra spread or something like that.
I love that.
Like, how you said, I love that you said that, the outcome is so beautiful and seeing the reaction is just incredible, even letting them know. So what I would do is I would ask them, not in an email, but in a Zoom call or in person, or however you interact with them after the wedding. And, I would even say, get them on a Zoom call before, say like, I would love to be here. we're going to record you. And maybe you're a part of that. Maybe you're recording them.
Cute. Yeah.
Right. And then, you could be asking them afterwards or like prompting them. So they, because they're probably just feeling all these emotions, and then you're in it with them, which might be really fun. Or you could, I would still do it over Zoom or on the phone, and not an email, because emails just feel so impersonal to me, but being able to express to them how this would be also very cool for them to do for themselves, to have a recording,
just to be able to,
they can show their friends and their family, and they can have a recording of this moment, and it's a part of their wedding experience.
Yes. I think the hardest part of that was the asking piece. Cause I'm like, this is such a cool idea, but cringe. Like I can't even like think about how to go about this that would feel right, as if I was serving them. And so I think that's a great place to come from, is once you have that conversation and feel like there's benefit for both ends, and just being able to explain it from that authentic place, instead of just being like, hey, I really need you to record this video so I can have your reaction. Like there's just a different way to go about things. And we spoke to it earlier with vendors or these other people involved. And so if we're always making decisions around how it's serving the other person, I think that's where we see success along the way too.
Yeah. Like how much fun would it be? And I'm thinking right now, I'm still thinking on like the best way to approach this.
Yeah.
Because that's how my brain works. How much fun let's say like Ellie, like you and your man, let's say I shot your wedding and I said, okay, today's reveal day, jump on Zoom with me. I'm going to give you like a little like rundown of the day and what to expect. Maybe like I have a little bit of a buildup in Zoom. Maybe I send you guys some champagne or I drop off some wine on your doorstep or something.
We would be
and
in it. I'd be like, whatever you need.
Yeah.
You're amazing.
I'd be like, this is for later. Here's your beer. Okay, we're beer girls. Yes. Like here's your little like pack of craft beer.
Yes.
And here's like a little card. And you can't open this envelope until like 6 o'clock tonight. And we're going to be sitting on Zoom together and I'm going to walk you through it and we're going to have beers together. And then I'm going to show you after you maybe you open up your gallery and then I show you around your gallery. Maybe I'm like, look at this moment and I highlight something for you. Maybe I walk through like your little online store and I'm like, just so you know, like this is how you navigate it. And I add to your experience and right. I'm like, this is how you operate it. Or if you have like your grandparents want to, like, this is exactly show them, this is what the link that you share and you make it really easy for them. And then you're recording it the whole time.
How cute is that? There's always ways to connect deeper with our clients. And I know the future, everybody's talking about social media, video, blah, 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 but there's so much more to the client experience too. And just navigating these processes in a way where you're thinking of them and what they're getting out of it the entire time. Seriously, if you did that with us, I don't even know. Somehow figure out a way.
Someone do it for me? Because I'm like, I want that. I will say whatever you want on video. Like, yeah.
Seriously. And then that's how you stand out. That's how you're being your authentic self, because it was your natural interactions, that nothing was forced or they had to just like click record and like try not to look at the video recording them,
Exactly.
in any of those awkward moments, because it takes somebody who is used to creating TikToks to feel okay in front of a camera. And we don't always get that client. So this is just a beautiful way of an example of how to continue marketing outside of these social media trends, honestly.
And then you make that into a tiny little reel and you send it to them.
Oh my gosh, so cute. My mind is blown. I'm like, I hope you all are taking as many notes as I am, because this is some
and
good
I want to
stuff.
see these reels, and please tag me in them. Tag meet.pepper, because I want to see these.
Yes, tag meet.pepper. And then I'm going to like totally stalk all of the tagged things to see this.
Yes.
Amazing. And we have, so, whenever it comes to jumping on board with trying something new in your business, let's say like this is, for example, the new thing. Do you have any advice? I feel like I know what it's going to be. For people who are trying something brand new that they've never done in their business before, but they just feel really excited about it and know it's something they want to try.
Yeah. I mean, I would ask yourself, of course, I'm going to say, just like, do it, have fun. But maybe if you're like, I'm really hesitating, Stace, like, I know you're going to say that. It's so easy just to say, just do it, have fun. But if you're really hesitating, maybe ask yourself why. Why are you hesitating? Like, what is it that's holding you back from doing this cool, new, exciting thing? It might be interesting. Like, it might be a self-confidence thing. Yeah. Or it might be, maybe you feel like you're not going to be good at it. And then, okay, well, why do I feel like I'm not going to be good at it? Maybe it's the skill set of actually creating this thing, or maybe I know I'm not going to be good because I just actually don't have the capacity and I'm hesitating because I feel like I should be doing this, but I really don't have the time and it's stressing me out.
That's relatable.
Yeah,
for sure.
And then I think we all need to be realistic with how much time we have, how much energy we have. It's better to do less really well and consistently than to feel like we have to do all the different marketing tactics and running our business and all the different things that we should be doing at 100% capacity, or like literally that's like 1,000% capacity. If you're doing all the things at 100%, and then no one actually has 1,000% capacity. That's not humanly possible. That's where you start outsourcing, but exactly, if you're really doing it yourself, you really need to be more realistic, and you don't want to dampen your joy for, the industry that we're in and what we're doing. Because that's what we see. We see a lot of photographers that burn out and maybe they transition out of having their business, and we really lose out on their incredible skill and their talent and what they bring to the industry. So we don't want you burning out.
I don't think I could have thought of a more beautiful way to say that. That's why, whenever you're talking about posting less, but in more impactful ways, like it comes back to the plan that you made, these pillars that you set for your business, and keeping everything in a, not everything has to be perfect, like you said, but cohesive and making sense and showing up consistently. It would be better to show up twice a week consistently over months at a time, instead of, having really high highs and then taking long breaks from social media in general. Right.
And you should be checking with yourself every 3 months. I don't know if it's like starting slow. So there's 2 things, and I relate them to fitness, which I really need to do after having a baby. I need to get back on that.
My kid's 4. I'm still waiting for that to kick in.
Good. I still have a few years. This is excellent news. This is exactly what I wanted to hear. But let's say you're wanting to do this new thing, yes, and you have this huge plan for social. Now, if you're to start a workout program, what you wouldn't do is 5 days a week, 2 hours a day. And like, I'm going to have a super strict diet and just go 100% in tomorrow. Monday, I'm going to go from like potato to
drinking beer to,
and you're like, exactly, to like this marathon, Olympic workout program. Right. That's the quickest way to fail. No one's going to maintain that. So again, start slow. You're 2 days a week, 30 minutes a day, start with that. Cut out. I'm going to steal from one of the team members who said this morning, which was really good. Stop drinking Diet Coke for breakfast. Like, just cut that one thing out. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't all have to be at once. And then just being really consistent, sticking to your capacity, checking in every 3 months, doing your analytics. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a plan for the next 3 months. I did my analytics. I saw the traffic coming to my website. Let's say I checked my social. I did my plan for 3 months. I'm going to recheck my analytics. Yes. Did I get more traffic to my website? Did I get more leads? Did I get more bookings? Did what I'm doing, is it actually working? And if it is, okay, well, what's working? What can I lean into? Or like, no, that didn't really work very well. Let's change my tactics. Let's not just try and do all the things at once, but let's like remove this one and add in this one, or let's tweak this one. And then let's do that for 3 months and then recheck in. Okay, did that work? How is that feeling?
All those questions are the beautiful part of marketing. Because yes, it can be so overwhelming. And if something doesn't work, we're like, that's a flop. Not going to try any of this other stuff. But instead, looking at analytics and seeing what does work and trying these different things and where the traffic is coming from. So then more, it's like, like an equation you're trying to solve, instead of just thinking that you're not good enough. Like, we know statistics have a lot to do with this. And we could be putting more time into the things that are making a difference in our business, and not what Sally photographer over there is getting together for hers. So
exactly.
It's that comparison fatigue that hits in.
Yes.
With marketing, especially, I feel.
Absolutely. Because you see someone maybe doing Reels or TikTok really well. This person over here is excellent blogging. Their social, they come up on the first page of Google, and they're not even from your town. You're like, how are they even on the first page? They're not even from here. That's not fair. Obviously, they're doing something really, really good in the back end. Right. But I think, you can't do all the things 100%. It's okay. It's okay not to do all the things 100%. And it just keeps going back to a plan, keep going back to strategy, and what you need in your business changes. It also could be, if you're seasonal, high season with weddings, it could be maybe this quarter. So 3 months is a quarter of your year. Like, this quarter, I need more leads. Now this quarter, I have so many leads, but I'm not making enough money. Okay. So let's just check in on my business. I have a lot of people coming in the door, but I'm still not making enough money for what I need to be doing for my life. Then, okay, how can I strategize my business or change something up? So I'm hitting this goal. So it's really good to have 3-month goals, be flexible. Your life needs maybe change. Maybe you had a baby, maybe you have a kid going to college, and, maybe you need to go down to part-time because someone in your family is sick. Like, your business evolves, you evolve as a human being. And because we are a business, the same thing.
Full effect. Right.
Yeah.
And, the beautiful thing about what you just said and how you walk us through each of these topics is really making things realistic. Like, it doesn't have to be the big unknown. We do have analytics. We do have different things we can try. We have SEO we can focus on. And so for photographers out there, I really hope this conversation got everybody as excited as I am, because I feel rejuvenated just being able to talk to you about this and saying, but you can make a plan instead of just sitting here like sulking in my own misery, which I do sometimes. We are all that way. Yeah. But I think when you take a pen to paper, there's nothing like that, or creating an Excel spreadsheet or Google Sheets, what I still call it.
Yeah. Excel's great. I'm right there with you.
Yeah. And putting in all the analytics and really tracking the growth. So then it's very rewarding whenever you see the effort you put into something is making a difference, instead of just wondering. For sure.
Absolutely. Knowing how you're spending your time, being efficient with your time, not just hours and hours and hours online on social media, throwing spaghetti at the wall, hoping something sticks.
Yeah, that's the perfect analogy, because that is how I feel.
That's a lot of us. A lot. Yes, that's what we do. Don't do that though, but we all understand. Yeah.
The goal is not to do that. Yes.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. I feel like, just as someone who's only talked to you for like less than an hour, I've gained so much from this conversation, and I know for a fact the listeners have. Before we start to wrap up, do you have anything else that you'd like to share with us just about social media trends or other forms of marketing?
I want you to know that if you're feeling discouraged with social media, or if you're tired, or if you're burnt out, it's okay to rest. It's okay to take care of yourself, because if you don't, you're not going to be able to sustain your business. And that's what we want you to do. So I want you, again, to be realistic with your time. I want you to create a plan, and I want you to know that you have this, and you're going to kick so much ass this year, because we totally believe in you.
Oh, okay. I'm not going to cry. We all have got this, you all. We have got this.
Yes, you do. You actually do.
Well, thank you for making us all feel so seen and heard. I feel like this conversation, we can relate to it on so many levels as creatives, and you really brought it home for us to feel like we can do something about it. So thank you so, so much for that.
Oh, well, thanks for having me. You're absolutely fantastic.
Well, before we get you off, I want you to walk us through one more time where we can find you and your company, and how we can follow along, services you got for us. We want it all.
Oh man, that feels like so many things.
It was a lot.
It's a lot of things, but you can find us on Instagram at meet.pepper. Same thing. It's the same thing on TikTok. Our website is www.meetpepper.ca, because we're based in Canada, eh? So it's definitely the .ca. And we are a creative marketing agency, so we can help you with your strategy and SEO and content creation. However, we are at capacity for working ongoing with creatives right now. So we have Pepper U and the Pepperverse, where we do group coaching and education. So if you're looking for a little extra help and accountability, and I know, Ellie, I feel like you should tell them also, because I just discovered your your Facebook group, which is Psych Society.
Psych Society.
Yeah, yes. You need to tell people where they can find you and all the cool things that you're doing, because I'm definitely coming and hanging out.
Yeah, for sure. I would love to have you in there as well. And, I started Psych Society during COVID, because why not? We were all finding ourselves and figuring out what was missing from our lives. And for me, it was community. So I love writing email templates and helping people understand how to put together styled shoots. So I made a community where I could share tools and resources just like that.
Amazing. Yeah, super cool. And your website's gorgeous.
Thank you. Thank you. Shout out to Flow Themes, because
Pixieset
and Flow Themes. So excited.
Yes. Amazing. The most amazing.
Yes, they're wonderful. So thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. And I cannot wait to follow along. And thank you for all of your advice and kind words.
Thanks for having me.